Hello, this is Abby.
Dear Abby, this is gonna be a long one.
Oh boy.
Dear Abby, how do you tell the difference between a new exciting crush and a rebound?
Does it matter?
Dear Abby.
Dear Abby,
Dear Abby.
Welcome to our little corner of the internet. This is the Dear Abby podcast. I hope you stay and hang out with us. See you in a sec. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Dear Abby. I am your host. My name is Abby. Welcome back. I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful Thursday or whatever day you're listening. As I'm talking, I have not been wearing my retainer that I was given a long time ago, gifted, that I paid for. I don't know why I said gifted, but I haven't been wearing it. So the gap between my two front teeth is getting bigger because when I was little, little. I thought there was someone outside looking at me through the window. Anyways, when I got my braces off, wait, shut up. What am I saying? Before I got my braces, I had a huge gap in my teeth. And I could stick lollipops and popsicles in between my teeth and the two front teeth. And I actually hated it at the time, but now that I'm older, I kind of wish that I kept it a little bit. So I'm not wearing my retainer, but I thought that it would make it go back to my gap, but instead it's just pushing the bottom of it together. So the top kind of has a gap, but the bottom's getting all twisted. Anyways, I'm jacking up my teeth. Anyways, I guess, yeah, professionals know what they're doing, so I need to wear my retainer. And one day when I can afford an Invisalign again or something, and one day when I can afford an Invisalign, wow, that's a tongue twister. One day when I can afford an Invisalign, I said it perfectly actually right there, I want to have a little bit of a gap left in my teeth because I actually like it. I like my gap. I kind of wish that I kept it a little bit. And then I wouldn't have to wear my retainer like this. Anywho, when I talk sometimes, it makes me almost have not a lisp, but it just kind of bugs it bugs my tongue when I talk sometimes. So when I record, I have to be very conscious of how I'm talking, which is a very weird sensation, or else I just turn into having a lisp and I just start making weird whistling sounds. I hope everybody had a beautiful, wonderful week getting into the holidays. Love you. It's the holiday season and whoop-dee-doo, dip-a-dee-da. I haven't really done a lot of my Christmas shopping, so that's on my to-do list. That's one of my L's. It's been busy at work, so that's just kind of been my focus, which is probably kind of bad, but I wanted to share my Dubs and L's. And then the point of today's episode, or the main topic, I guess, of today's episode is choosing how you want to live. But I wanted to talk specifically about being very conscious in a lot of moments. It's not going to be every moment, about how you want to live, and not just your values, but I think when you latch onto your values, like how you want to show up for yourself, for other people, and kind of have a refresh in moments where you feel like things are getting heavy and you're kind of bogged down, that it is very possible to have a full body reset and a mental reset, and how that's okay to have all the time. We all need that a lot. And that's not a sign of brokenness. That's just life. And along with that, I want to talk about the experience of when you kind of shut down your emotions and you either suppress, or you kind of tell yourself and you reiterate the story that you don't really care too much about things, that in order to save my feelings, I'm not going to let myself really feel anything, which actually does take away some of the joy that you'll feel. The reasons why it's worth it to feel both the hurt and the happy. I wanted to speak on the experience of when you kind of shut that down for yourself. And sometimes it's not even super conscious that you're doing that. Okay, I'm going to suppress this because I do not want to get hurt. So therefore I'm going to turn off these emotions and I'm going to act like I don't care and just work, or think, or whatever it is that you use to distract from those feelings, or suppress, or act like they're not real, or not even the feelings, but the care maybe, and the want, the dreams, the desire, the excitement, all of the feelings. because maybe we are, again, scared of our feelings or maybe in the past we haven't been able to handle big feelings that maybe you could say are negative, but I think it's just not helpful to really label them as that. Just grief or sadness or anger or frustration or fear or anxiety and all of these different things, that feelings and that come up, that when we feel in an abundance of those more hard feelings to experience, and we don't have the experience, practice, or understanding to be able to feel that and also still act according to how you want to act, or to enjoy life the way you want to enjoy, like that. If those big feelings come up and we don't know how to handle them, then sometimes it could just be subconsciously that we're like, okay, well, in the past I haven't handled this good, so therefore I will never be able to handle it good, and my anxiety is always going to end this way, and my OCD thoughts are always going to end this way and end at like this. So then you just almost suppress everything. That way you don't have to deal with the bad, but then that also suppresses the good, and then you'll probably start to feel a little bit more numb. But there's probably a deeper part of you that's like screaming to get out and like to actually just experience and live and not be so stuck in your head or in a fear cycle or just in like suppressing. We'll jump back into that, but first I wanted to do Dubs and L's and share a little bit of a story from my week, but I'm going to spare some details because it does involve my workplace. So I will not share everything, but my dub for this week, which will lead into my L, which I don't know if it's necessarily an L, but we'll get to it. My dub for this week, I have two, which the dub is kind of a dub and an L, I guess, a little bit of both. The other night, I was having such a hard time falling asleep. I've had weird like OCD spirals or just feeling really anxious when I'm trying to go to bed, very heavy. I usually like will pray or I will meditate or I'll just listen to calming music and I'll just try to center myself. And I used to and it's been a while since I've had really intense like OCD spirals where your mind cannot be contained is what it feels like. It's literally like a whole circus is being played in your head and you just have to watch it, and it doesn't feel like you have control over it is how it feels. And at night it's especially scary because everything's dark. I don't want to wake up my husband and like play music out loud or watch Dimension 20 or something. It's like I have to sometimes just lay there in silence. So the other night, well, 2 nights in a row, I had this really bad for like one of the nights I think I got 1 hour of sleep. The first night was really bad because it kind of came out of nowhere. So couldn't really get my bearings, and it just like I didn't get good sleep. I tried my best like to use all my tools and I still could not fall asleep. I felt so anxious all night. And it just came out of nowhere. But I've also been working insane hours, so that's probably a little bit of the reason as well. Went to work the next day, came home, was getting ready for bed, and I could feel that dread coming up that when you have a certain trigger, like going to bed can be a very big OCD or anxiety trigger because okay, so historically speaking, whatever time I go to bed, that's usually when these thoughts start to come up. It's the same dread or doom, gloom, whatever feeling comes up that feels like it's insurmountable, that's what's going to happen. So in my head, that's what my brain is telling me, like, okay, you got to get ready because you're not going to get any sleep tonight. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And at first I wanted to like argue with those thoughts and with the negative and argue with like, no, I'm going to get good sleep. It's going to be like this, and try to kind of replace it with positive thoughts. Then as I was like, wait, hold on a second. Is this actually really helping my like OCD and my compulsive behavior to right the wrongs and to control everything that's happening in my body and my brain? I noticed that I was doing that, and then I started to just let it kind of run wild, I guess is how to describe it. And I also really accepted the fact that maybe I will not get any sleep tonight and I will go to work tomorrow and I might be really tired. And maybe it'll be like a week of not getting any sleep. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's going to do to my body. I don't know what that's going to do to my mind. Maybe I go crazy from it. I don't know. But this is what's happening, and I can accept that, and I will try my best to fall asleep. And if I don't, then I don't. Like I'm not going to sit here and argue with my brain and do this whole spiral over and over and over again and making it worse and worse and worse and elongating it, because with OCD, like exposure response prevention, it's not like when you do the homework, then the thoughts go away or the spiral ends immediately. It's like it sometimes will just keep going on. And sometimes it gets even stronger after you try to like use your tools, because it's like, no, but what are you doing? We don't do this. Like you always say this, or you try to fight back like this, or you know, so sometimes it gets even stronger, like the monster kind of grows. And then I just kept ignoring it and was like, totally, if this is what's happening, then this is what's happening. So yeah, it was a long night, and I think I got a couple of hours of sleep, which is better than none. But the next day, I woke up feeling tired, but I was also really proud of myself because it was a hard night, but I didn't make it worse by fighting it all night. Like I was like, okay, this is what's happening. I trust. I'm going to like really choose in this moment to just trust I'm going to be okay and I can handle this, whatever this is. And I woke up feeling very accomplished and very confident that like, okay, that was extremely hard for me to not just immediately turn on TV, to not immediately kind of distract or like fight those thoughts, but to like just be super uncomfortable while it's doing its whole circus. What was awesome is that the next night, I got perfect sleep. Like I went right to bed. And I really believe that the way that I handled the night before helped, because I wasn't, when the thoughts were like, what if you have horrible sleep tonight? It's like, then I have horrible sleep tonight. You know, I don't know what you want me to say to that. OCD. I don't know what you want me to do. And then the other dub for this week is just the fact that I've been crying more, and bear with me. It is a good thing, because sometimes I go through like depressive episodes, or where I don't even really feel sad. I just feel extremely like angry or frustrated, but it's all to myself, and it really can be intense. It comes so quickly, and it takes me a little bit to realize what's happening. And I've just been in a little bit of one of those, but I think the way that I handled sleeping, like my sleep problems, and then my spirals actually really helped helped kind of bring things back a little bit to homeostasis, where I felt like I was able to release a bunch of feelings, or just release things that I was holding on to from the past couple of weeks, probably. So it felt really good. And I actually felt like myself again, because when I'm actually crying and when I'm feeling it, that's when I feel the most alive. So for some people, it's adrenaline junkie. Some people are adrenaline junkies, where they want to skydive and then they feel alive. My version of feeling alive and adrenaline junkie vibes are being creative and feeling connected to other people, and just feel connected to Earth and God and other people. And that to me makes me feel alive. And I can actually feel grateful, like feel the gratitude and love that I have for life, for other people. And it's better than, which obviously feels a lot better than being depressed, and feels a lot better than having that intense self-loathing. So it felt good to like actually feel like myself again, and not stuck and stagnant and kind of stuck in this place in my head. But that being said, the reason I think all of my feelings came to the surface and everything surfaced was because at work, and this is my work story that I mentioned earlier, at work, I had basically somebody called me and was a little bit crazy aggressive about something that was a mistake. There was miscommunication, I think, on like the upper ends of things. I don't really know exactly. Basically, he was angry and he was a little bit aggro, but me being sensitive, but I also work in a professional environment, so therefore I'm not going to really show my emotions. I'm not really going to show my emotions in the big ways. Like I feel like crying a lot at work, but I don't cry at work. I'll cry at home, and then I'll go to work and I will be a professional and I will put on my happy face, because it's not anyone else's problem at work. Like I'm not best friends with any of them. I don't really let my guard down really easy anyways. And I feel like when I feel safe, then sure, I will let people in and kind of see what's going on in my, like, inside. But before that, it's like, it's a work environment. I want to stay professional. If I feel frustrated, I'm going to go take a couple deep breaths in the bathroom, gather myself, come back out, act professional again. Like, I don't want to change the way I treat people because I'm feel frustrated or I feel like under, I don't know, just under pressure or something. But the other day, after that confrontation and the call ended, because it was very abrupt, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know anything was an issue. I hung up the call. I went to my office and I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom really fast. I didn't want anyone to know that I was actually really hurt by that or scared because, you know, when anyone's like aggressive, like you can be stern. I can take direct and stern. I grew up with brothers and I also just like, I can handle it now. Even if inside I feel anxious or hurt, I'm going to be like, everything's fine. And then again, I'll go cry in the corner. So I go to the bathroom. I'm crying. I'm getting all my stuff. I'm getting everything's coming to the surface. That was after the couple of nights I didn't get good sleep. And then this was just the last straw that broke the camel's back. I was sobbing in the bathroom. Everything was coming up. I couldn't control it anymore. I have been suppressing, trying to act professional. So I'm in there for a little bit. I'm cleaning up. After I'm done, I'm like, okay, I feel better. Like I just needed to get that out. And now I will go kill it. I will go do a great job. And I didn't think that I looked that bad. So I cleared away all my tears. I wiped my face with the tissues. I made sure to like dab so it wasn't super red or puffy. And I looked at myself in the mirror and my nose was so red. My cheeks were so red. My eyes were a little bit puffy still. And my makeup wasn't smeared, but some of it was off at this point. I didn't know what to do because I was like, do I just wait in here for like 20 minutes? So I just went back to my desk, kept my head down, and then was working and working. And I was like, okay, I think my face feels like it's less swollen. Like hopefully nobody saw or like nobody has any idea because it's just busy. So everyone's like running around. So I'm starting to feel confident. Like I could look at somebody's face again and they won't be like, are you okay? And then somebody came in and asked me a question. And I looked at them and they were like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And that's when I knew I should have kept my head down because then I wanted to cry more when someone says, are you okay? And you're not feeling okay. My coworkers are all like really sweet, really nice people. So I didn't feel like embarrassed or anything because I'm like, it is what it is. I can cry. I sometimes cry, but then I do a good job and I won't let it affect my work. But now that I'm an adult, it's like I know how to control my emotions. But in that moment with me crying, I cried in the bathroom and I came back and I thought I was in the clear and I was not. So, and I actually really don't feel like I should have been embarrassed because as much as work is work, there is a small percent that can still be human. Anyways, and then that night I was lying in bed and everyone was really nice and like was comforting. And I wasn't like, woe was me, woe was me. I was being smiley and I was being as normal as I could. But I just felt off because it genuinely was scary to me. So I wasn't embarrassed. It kind of felt good just to, I guess, feel like I needed to be comforted by other people in that moment. And I let myself be comforted by other people, even if like initially I'm like, well, that's weird because I'm at work, but I've worked with these people for a long time. So it felt like kind of freeing to let people see me a little bit more and let them judge me however they want. I had to be a little bit vulnerable. I was forced into it. So that was horrifying, but also it felt good after just to be like, oh, okay, it's not the end of the world. People saw that I can get my feelings hurt. And so that being said, that kind of leads into like the whole point of today's episode, which is like I was saying at the beginning, it feels like sometimes we might act like we don't care about things that deep down we know we do care about because, well, I think for a couple of reasons. One, sometimes in the past, maybe we've cared about something and then later on we didn't. And then we were really passionate and then we felt embarrassed by like, okay, we changed our mind. So like, is that embarrassing? But that's not embarrassing to change your mind and to be passionate about something. I think another reason why we sometimes suppress or act like we don't care is we just don't, we might subconsciously or consciously not want to get hurt. And that is a very real thing that we do as humans, as we realize, okay, when I acted like this, I got hurt. So that must be wrong, because if I'm going to get hurt, that means that I was vulnerable or I was stupid in some way or I was doing something wrong. Therefore, I got hurt. And when I got divorced and after that whole kerbuckle, I felt like I couldn't be at all like how I was before my divorce, because what if that was the reason why everything happened? And there's a lot of things that I loved to do before that I didn't feel like I could do anymore because I didn't want to be that same girl because she got hurt. I didn't want to be soft and hopeful and some of those things because that's the girl that got hurt, I guess. And there's two ways I think about that. I actually really do believe that, like, sometimes we shed things too early, or sometimes we get rid of parts of ourselves to protect ourselves from further hurt. But those parts have nothing to do with the reason why we got hurt. And so we don't need to shed those things, and we don't need to get rid of that part of ourselves. Sometimes, like, parts of us are totally fine, and things that we like and that we do. And however, there's other things that we have outgrown. And through my divorce, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about love and relationships. I also learned things about myself that I wanted to change and realize, like, okay, actually, that could have been a cause. And that's not something that I even like about myself, or that I like that that's a habit of mine. So I want to change that. And so there's like two sides to the coin. I don't think it's all one, all nothing. You have to be the exact same or someone totally different. But life is a little bit more chaotic than that. But that's like a good thing. It gives you more freedom to really explore, parts of you that you feel like you've outgrown, and then parts of you that you want to keep and that there's nothing wrong with in the first place. And also parts that might feel like they just mature. So you might enjoy something, but then maybe that taste just matures into something else. I don't know, it's just all exploration. There's many reasons why we might be acting like we don't care or suppressing. Why does that matter? Well, like I said, it very much so matters, because I think for me especially, I talk a lot about being like more emotional or heavy on the emotions. And I think people who experience that might feel, like too much for other people, or like their feelings are too much, or their thought processes about things are too intense. Like, just calm down. Don't think about that, So sometimes we suppress that part of ourselves, or it's like we get made fun of for maybe liking philosophy, or maybe liking books, or liking like making up stories, or or theater, like being dramatic in some way, but in like a good, fun way, expressive basically. So when we get made fun of for being expressive, then we tend to not express as much, because we think, well, that didn't feel good to get made fun of after expressing a part of myself. So we just like hold it back and we don't want to express anymore. But that's so damaging, is what I've learned for myself, to not express myself in any way, but especially in the ways that you feel like you can get it out the most. Everybody should be able to express themselves. And even if you get bullied or you get made fun of for expressing yourself, it's like, who cares? They are the miserable ones for like making fun of you for your expression of yourself. And that can be in vulnerability, in conversation, that can be in art, that can be in, again, theater or whatever it is. But don't act like you don't care about things. It doesn't feel good, and it definitely isn't sustainable to act like you don't care about things that you care about. And over time, we're going to kind of lose that spark a little bit. Like when people lose their spark, for me, that feels like I've lost interest. Either let myself lose interest. Sometimes it's like just depression, and then that's a different situation. But sometimes I kind of let myself lose my spark because I'm really scared to be vulnerable or expressive and then get rejected, or people don't like it, or people don't respond well to it or something, or that I'm going to get misrepresented or judged, misunderstood. It very much matters if you are acting like you don't care about things, because then your brain takes that information, part of your brain will take that information and then further use that story over and over again. And then that'll make your feelings kind of go along with that, to where it's just suppression of things. And that's not a fun path, and that's not a fun place to be. So, as scary as it can feel, especially if you have OCD or anxiety, the fear that can sometimes come with being yourself, being who you are, finding out who that is, whatever, like the fear that can come with that can be very intense. What if I get rejected? Like a very real fear of rejection. So that can be something that you can work on, is handling that feeling, and then recognizing like you can handle that feeling, and then you can still live a really beautiful, good life, even if you sometimes feel that. But do not let that hold you back. Like, don't let your feelings about that hold you back. When I was in the car driving home, I was very much thinking about the fact that I just kept feeling super grateful for my ups and downs. But as somebody who has bipolar depression, that's saying something. But I really am grateful for my ups and downs. And I would take feeling up and down over feeling numb. And on the drive home, it was a beautiful sunset, and I was feeling emo, of course. And I kept thinking how happy I am, and how much I would, and how I would choose feeling those ups and downs over feeling like a flat line in my brain, which is how, that depression can feel. I would choose that time and time again. Like, I would choose to feel those ups and downs, even though the downs can be really hard, like when I couldn't sleep. Then the ups at least I felt like myself, versus when I am in the middle, versus when I'm flatlining, I don't feel anything good or bad. It's just like it is. And I miss things when I'm in that state of depression. Like, I just feel like I miss things. I'm missing life. I'm missing stuff. So I will take the ups and downs and be so happy and be so at peace with the downs and with the ups. And I don't need huge ups and downs, because again, I did for a couple of years experience really intense ups and downs, and that was not fun. And that felt very like dangerous. But now that I know I did medication for a long time, and I don't know the science around it, but I do feel better. Like, I don't have as crazy ups and downs, but I still have some. And that feels like that's okay. Like, that's kind of how my life is supposed to be. So I would take that over any other type of flatlining thing over, yeah, any day. Like, open my heart, I guess, so I think just I've been really trying to open myself up to, I guess, both the hurt, but also the love and the connection. So, but I've also been able to handle the downs, because I've learned how to pick myself back up, but not in like a forceful way, but in a really helpful, real way of like motivating myself again, and learning how to sit with that, and learning how to overcome those things, basically, to ebb and flow. So anyways, that's what I want to talk about. I hope any of that made sense. And then let's do it, Dear Abby, and then we will end the episode. Okay, and then we're actually not going to do a Dear Abby today. But if you want to submit one, you still can. You can text or call the number in the description below. I would love to answer your questions. So we're going to end it there, I guess. That feels weird, but we didn't have one for today. And I don't think we did. If I skipped yours, just send it again, or just text it, or text me and say you skipped mine, and then I will be able to see your previous message. So I'm sorry if I did skip yours. Things did get a little bit messy in my email account. I'm not going to lie to you. So I might have missed stuff, but I don't have any recent ones, and I'm just going to admit that. So we're just going to end it. I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful weekend, and go out there, get your grocery shopping done, Christmas shopping. That's what I'm thinking. Go get your Christmas shopping done so that way you can just enjoy the season. So you can enjoy the season of cheer. I'm really so grateful for you guys for listening to my little podcast and hanging out with us on this little corner of the internet. If you want to support the podcast, you can leave a rating or a review on Apple or Spotify podcasts, as well as you can like and subscribe, comment on my YouTube channel. If you want to hear me talk about anything in specific, you can message me or chat me. If you want to go above and beyond, of course, you can send or you can share this to your story, my podcast to your story. You can also just tell people word of mouth. That would be awesome. Or if you're in a management company for podcasts, please hit me up, because I've been looking for management so that way I have more time to just do more fun things with the podcast and not be so stressed about editing and listening to my dumb little voice for another 2 hours every week. But anyways, if you actually do know anybody or you're interested, please let me know. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
우회전 taking a ride to Jonathan late 눈치 보면서 들어가야 할 때 찾아 나머진 바빠 개설레임 바꾸는 사람들 시간만 지나가 자신감